Hello and good day, Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We are here because we're on a mission to inspire other families to enjoy camping adventures such as we have with our kids. Today we wanted to address topics that are specific to women going camping. And it seems like I'm going to dominate most of this conversation since I've got the female perspective on all this.
Yes, you are.
But Tim will chime in, I'm sure. So, a few topics that we thought might be relevant as far as women are concerned. If you're thinking about camping, you're not too sure about it, maybe to try to persuade you, comfort concerns are one thing that people are sometimes worried about, hygiene and being able to be clean, and then just difficulty of camping. But all of these areas are things that you can kind of adjust as needed depending on whether you want to take all the deluxe package of stuff, camping stuff with you, which we have a fair selection of stuff ourselves.
Yep, we have the ability to glamp if we needed to, but we also have the ability to not.
We have the ability to be uncomfortable if we want.
It's not uncomfortable. It's not that big of a deal, man.
There is availability of all kinds of camping gear. They're ranging from just a very basic sleeping pad, which is fairly thin, and you may feel the ground depending on how thick or how high end that camping pad is.
Or how rooty the ground is.
How bumpy, rocky the ground is that you're sleeping on.
Yep.
But you can have a really big, thick, queen size pillow top kind of air mattress as well.
Which I think we have 3 of.
And sleeping bag wise, like comfort level, you can have ones that are tailored more for hot weather, where it's going to be a lighter, cooler sleeping bag. Or if you are camping in cooler weather, shoulder seasons or winter camping, then you can have a thicker, fuller, warmer kind of sleeping bag.
Yeah, which tend to be sort of mummy style, so less snuggling with somebody else.
Pillow-wise, you can take a more comfy pillow. We have ones that are very small, compact, and kind of fold up into a very small bag. And then we've got other like normal pillows that we'll sometimes take with us.
I like the small ones, though. They're easy and they work quite well.
They're comfortable.
Yep.
And then tent-wise, so there's tents that may be harder to put up, tents that may be easier to put up. We've got a variety of tents also. And some of them are relatively easy and small and light and compact, and others are bigger and more roomy if we want to be able to stand up inside the tent.
If it's a dome tent with fiberglass poles, easy peasy.
And if you are wanting something to sit on, so you can pull up a log, but you can also take a camping chair with you. We've got also nice camping chairs to sit on around the fire, and other people will opt not to take something that's that big and bulky, or just like a little tripod chair is something that won't be as comfortable because there's no backrest on it, but smaller, more compact. There's a range of equipment that you can take to tailor to your own comfort level. You can also just, if you don't want to deal with the whole packing and lugging stuff and buying stuff, is you can Airbnb a glamping site on somebody's property. So they've got it all set up for you. All you do is you go and sleep in their glamping setup and enjoy nature.
Right, or you can do Ontario parks like a yurt. Or a ranger's cabin, or that sort of a deal where you have to take your sleeping gear. You'll take the stuff you cook with, but there'll be a barbecue. There'll be beds. There'll be a table and chair. Probably a picnic table outside as well. So at varying levels.
Yeah, so you can make it as difficult or as easy as you like. Hygiene and facility-wise, so again, depends on where you're going. If you're backcountry camping, then there's a lake to kind of wash up in, and you want to be taking biodegradable soap so that you're not polluting the nature. But if you're in an Ontario park, provincial park, car camping, then there's shower facilities, so you can clean yourself up if you want. They do have well-maintained restrooms, and there's also, like, people are sometimes not fond of using the outhouses. Cheryl from Camping with the Coles does a loo review, so if that's something that's you're concerned about, you can certainly check out her loo reviews to see which campgrounds have the better facilities where that's concerned.
The flower or the wilted flower, yes.
and then in the Ontario parks, they have the comfort stations. So comfort stations where there's the showers, but also more of a public restroom type thing.
Yep.
And then as far as difficulty, so same, can be kind of hard as or difficult or easy as you want to make it. If you're going car camping, then it's just sort of drive into your site and not having to lug stuff. And you just unload there, set yourself up. If you're going more backcountry, then it's a bit more of a deal.
Well, it also depends on how much gear you're taking. I had a conversation last night with a friend from high school, and she was talking about running into some weather while they were coming out of Algonquin Park. And I said, well, it's not quite as big of a deal for us because we're so loaded down, but that we have ballast, so we get thrown around a lot less than somebody who's playing it light. That's never an issue. It's not about light with Thomas and I. It should be, but it's not.
They like the heavy lifting.
Not really, but Thomas is able to do it.
Thomas
so
is good. So you can do like a kind of beginner friendly where you're just driving in and just unloading. When Martin, my younger one, was younger, he and I often went on a little overnight camping trip. So we would head out on a Wednesday morning, go to where we were camping, which would usually be within about an hour to an hour and a half of where we live, and just set up our tent, set up our air mattress, and outside of that, we would just kind of go explore the campground. We had a bin, which Tim was quite kind about organizing for us, of kitchen gear, stuff we would need for cooking. But it was a kind of easy peasy, low planning, low effort, kind of spontaneous thing that we could go do. And it was great because we got out in nature, and it was good for both of us to be able to be competent at being able to camp on our own. Yeah, so difficulty-wise, it can be hard as difficult as you want. You can, as far as adventures, while you're out camping, so you can, if you want to take a canoe with you, you can go canoeing. You can rent a canoe at some of the campgrounds. You can go for hikes, and there's different difficulties of trails at the parks, and they'll kind of rate them for difficulty, so that can be as hard as difficult as you want. And then some of the more common fears that people might experience about the concept of camping is just safety. Particularly, that's a concern when you are a female, especially if you're a female and you're camping alone. Camper Christina is awesome. If you want to check out any of her videos on YouTube, she does solo camping in backcountry in places like Temagami. So it's something that she's been able to kind of overcome, and we'll have lots of information about how to do that if you're interested in backcountry camping.
She's absolutely the bomb. And just to throw back to the tents where, I was talking about dome tents and fiberglass poles, so they're easy peasy. Camper Christina takes out this big heavy canvas winter tent with poles that you have to stab into the ground, and lugs a stove out there to heat it and stuff like that. So she is amazing. She does stuff that I'm not positive I could pull off. So big win there. But yeah, absolutely check out her content.
Yeah, so safety wise, you can carry a personal alarm of some sort with you, just if you feel like you are in danger at some point. Self-defense things as well, and more if it's you're concerned about something like bears, you can take bear spray with you just to protect yourself from bears. If it's more about other campers, generally, I've done several overnight trips by myself with our young one, and never felt in any kind of danger or any kind of threatening situation, at least here again on Ontario parks.
Yeah, I would relate quickly a story. In one of the Facebook groups, I remember distinctly, because it totally stunned me. I hadn't given it any thought before. Somebody was asking about, what if a lake in a backcountry is full? There's all the sites are taken, but you've booked a site, so theoretically that's not possible. Do you go around and start asking people to see their permits? And that became a bit of a lively discussion. A woman piped up, and for the life of me can't remember. Anyhow, she piped up and said, "I'm not showing anybody my permit, and other than a ranger, because there's no way I'm giving that information out to anybody else." So
the permit details, like, I'm going to be on this campsite this day, this campsite this day, this campsite this day. So this is where she felt like she didn't want to be disclosing
information,
like
because then she gets, somebody starts stalking her, or who knows. And I was absolutely blown away, and I went, okay, I can't even be part of this conversation, because it would never occur to me. But now that you've mentioned it, I feel terrible that guys are dicks. And that puts you in that position to feel that way. That's
Tim
just
apologizes
terrible.
on their behalf.
Yeah, I do.
Just if you are in Ontario parks, there are park rangers around. So if you do feel like unsafe in some way, even in backcountry, that you can get help. And if you are doing an Airbnb, then your hosts, or even private campgrounds, will have campground hosts. So there are people around that can help you if you need help. Wildlife concerns, so people often do express concerns, especially about bears. Here in Ontario, we don't have grizzly bears, so we've mentioned before, that's a whole other topic, and probably somewhere best not to go camping. But here in Ontario, the bears that we have are mainly nuisance bears, which are they're after your food. And if you're listening to our episode about bear-proofing your campsite, then we have lots of tips in there about how just to hopefully not attract bears. And just as far as dangerous encounters, like bears again are unlikely to be coming after you. They're just mainly after your food if you've left it somewhere where it will attract them. So we just try to avoid that. But you do have the option of having bear spray that you can spray on the bear. It's not like bug spray. You don't put it on yourself.
That'll go poorly for you.
And then in terms of like solo camping trips, I mentioned like Camper Christina is awesome, so check out her content if you are interested in doing a solo trip. If you are doing it for the first time, definitely you want to try, like, stay within your limits and stay within your comfort level. Don't get yourself in over your head. Maybe start something quite simple and then work your way up to like a tomogamy kind of trip. Make sure that you're giving somebody your itinerary, which is always a must when you are camping, especially backcountry camping. And make sure that you've got a satellite locator like our Zoleo. And having a whistle or even something like that too, just again attract attention. As scouters, we encourage like having something you can use as a reflection. So if somebody is searching for you overhead in a plane or an aircraft, you can reflect so that they can see a shiny object down there and know it's you. Take a first aid kit with you, taking a compact flashlight, maybe having some extra food or snacks with you just in case you go on a hike and you get lost. You've got something to sustain yourself. If it gets dark, maybe you want something that you can double as shelter for the night so that then you can wait until it's daylight and you can see your way back. Self-defense things, again, just mostly is awareness. Like, try to be aware of who is around you and practice just safety, any safety like you might do at home in the city.
Yeah, unusual noises that might not be animals or something, or might be animals. Take a headlamp. Lots of light is always your friend. I don't know. I plow through blindly like some absolute moron most of the time.
So again, there's just ranges of getting out in nature options. So first is glamping, where you've got it, somebody else has a setup already for you. You just go, they've got a comfy bed, you've got electricity, you even have a private bathroom, and potentially access to showers and anything that you might feel like, all the comforts of home.
And Jeeves can bring you breakfast in the morning.
And then you can go on a yoga or wellness retreat. There's tons of those are kind of Algonquins of interest. You can certainly check out those. And then that combines some fitness activities, some yoga. Sometimes they will provide your food. And there's guided activities too. When we talked to, who did we talk to?
Driftwood Paddle.
Driftwood Paddle, who does guided tours. So if you feel like you want to venture into the backcountry but you don't want to do it on your own, you can always do a guided tour.
Bit of a teaser. They're coming up on our 100th episode.
If you want to combine some, I'm not the type to just kind of sit around in the campsite. I want to be off doing something, either exploring trails, going for a bike ride, going for a swim, going for canoe paddle, rock climbing, kayaking, zip lining. All of these can be part of the adventure. So it's not just sitting in a campsite if you're concerned about being bored. There's the social aspect of it. So we've gone camping with my family, with our extended family, and it's been awesome just being able to hang out with those people for a weekend or a few days during the week and just sit around the campfire, share stories and adventures during the day. And then being able to observe photography and observe nature and do some photography while you're there, just to capture the essence of your adventure. We've got this treasure trove of pictures that Tim has taken while we've been camping that come up on our smart screen in the kitchen, and just it's such a wonderful way to recall when our kids were younger and when we did do camping with the extended family, and all sat around the campfire together and shared food and rotated who was making dinner that night and had different exposures to different kind of meals than what we would normally do.
Very different meals, yep.
So I hope that that has covered some of the concerns, reservations people might have about camping. Certainly, I probably would have had a lot of those at some point. And thankfully, because Tim was an experienced camper when we met, I've been able to learn from him and glean, how to do things and how to do it in a safe and enjoyable and comfortable and fun way.
Yeah, well, and just to throw it out there, I mean, I think Pamela mentioned that I used to sort of prep their gear and stuff for them when she and our youngest would go out for an overnight. I wouldn't even occur to me now because she can do all the things. Like, she knows all the things. She can work a checklist. She knows all the gear. She knows what she likes. So it doesn't have to be like I don't have to wrangle that, and I think that's fantastic. So anybody can learn to do the things, to camp and find a way to be, one with nature and safe and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, lots of our friends on YouTube have lots of advice about how to do it safely, and how to make it enjoyable. And that's it for us for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please do reach out to us if you have any questions, concerns, any topics you would love us to talk about. We would love to hear from you. Our email address is hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we are on all of the social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we will talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.